So function, so we are saying a quadratic function. We know that it is a function that is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. That's a quadratic function. All right. Now at this point, I'm not going to be interested in solving this quadratic function. I'm not also going to be interested in sketching it. Since we know that this is a quadratic function, we know that, okay? We can make this function to be an equation, right? We can make it as an equation. And to make it as an equation, we're going to equate the function to 0. That means it becomes ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, right? So in this case, it has become an equation from a function. Now, imagine you are solving a quadratic equation. Think of this. You were solving a quadratic equation and then it gave you that x is equal to 2 or x is equal to 1. You know that when you're solving a quadratic, you're going to have two solutions. Now, if these are the two answers you want to go back to the equation, how are you going to find it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 the other side. It becomes x minus 2. I'm going to take the 1 the other side. It becomes x minus 1. That will be equal to 0. Okay? And then I'll start crossing and multiplying at this point. So the x times the x in the other bracket, that gives us x squared. The x times the negative 1, that will be negative x. Negative 2 times x. Are you able to see what I'm are you able to see?
No, we can't see any calculations apart from the x is equals to 2 and x is equal to 1.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I'm also following my phone. It's showing me that it is slow. It's lagging behind. That's when it has shown. Okay, so hope you are able to see what I'm doing. So what I did is I took this x, I mean the 2 this side, it became x minus 2. I took also the 1 this side, it became x minus 1. And then we equate that to 0, right? Because like if you have got something like this you want to solve, it will give you these two solutions which are here. We know that at least. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying x times x, x squared. X times negative 1, negative x. And now negative 2 times x, negative 2x, negative 2 times negative 1. That's what I'm doing. That will give us positive 2, and that is going to be equal to 0. So here we're going to have x squared minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. So if you have got these two solutions which are able to see here, that means that the equation that you add is this one. Does it make sense? I'm hoping it does, right? So what I'm going to do is this same equations that you are saying here, I'm going to divide everything by a such that x squared is going to have a coefficient of 1. So it becomes x squared plus b over a x plus c over a, and that is going to be equal to 0. I want you to keep this equation that you're able to see here. Now what I'm going to do is, let's think of it. You were solving a quadratic equation, okay? You found that x is equal to alpha or x is equal to beta. What is going to be the equation of this of these two solutions? So I'm going to take the alpha the other side and the beta the other side. So I'm going to have x minus alpha and then x minus beta. That is going to be equal to 0. And then do the cross multiplication. I'm going to find x squared minus alpha x minus beta x plus alpha beta, and that will be equal to 0. I've just done the cross multiplication. Now since here I've got an x, I've got an x, I can factorize out an x. So this will give us x squared minus. So we're going to have alpha plus beta, and then the x I'll put it outside here, and then plus alpha beta, and that is going to be equal to 0. So what has just happened here is I've gotten this x and this x, that's common, I've put it here. There's a negative here, there's a negative here. That's common. I've put it there. So what will remain on the middle is a negative, I mean a positive. If I want to go back, I can distribute this negative and also the x. We are going to get what is on top. So from what we are able to see here, we're going to now compare this equation with this equation. Okay, so we are seeing that the x squared is equal to x squared. Now we're interested in coefficients. The number in front here is equal to the number in front here. That means the number in front of x should be equal to the number in front of x. All right, so that means this number in front of x, what's that? Negative alpha plus beta should be equal to this number in front of x. What is that? B over a. So at this point, I can divide both sides by negative such that I'm going to remain with alpha plus beta being equal to negative b over a. Okay, and then that means for this constant alpha times beta will always give you this constant, which is c over a. Now these are called roots of a quadratic equation. Roots of a quadratic equation. So given any two values of a quadratic, you are able to find the quadratic equation itself using this formula. And what does this formula tell you? We can write it in words. And how is that? The equation of a quadratic is given by x squared minus sum of the two roots that you have been given. You put an x plus the product of the two roots that you have, and that is going to be equal to 0. This is how you are able to determine the quadratic equation if you've been given two roots. For example, you have got a quadratic equation that has got roots. Let's have got a quadratic that has got two roots 2 and 3. You want to determine the equation. It will be x squared minus, you get sum. So 2 plus 3, that is going to give you 5, and then you attach an x plus product 2 times 3, that is going to give you 6, is equal to 0. So this is the equation whose roots are 2 and 3. If you want to solve this equation, you are going to find those that are going to be the two roots. All right, so this is very, very important, like very important. Do we have questions first? Any question? All right, thank you. There is no question. Now, before I show you how to get to apply this, you need to know how to factorize. I know you know, but you might not know that you know. So, if you have got a squared minus b squared, Martha, how can you factorize this? How can you factorize this?
If you have that,
Yes.
so you can choose the thingy, a root. So I don't know.
How do you factorize the difference
Oh,
of two
sorry,
squares?
So you use the thingy. I've remembered now. You use the thingy of two squares. That is
Okay,
divided
good.
by a minus b and a plus b.
Yes. So this is the difference of two squares. That is going to be the factorization. Very good. So what do you think? How are you going to be able to to factorize this a squared plus b squared? Anyone? How can you factorize a squared plus b squared? So it will become a little bit nice. Okay? Or maybe let me say, how can you factorize a minus b squared? Anyone? Yes, Musonda.
You you square the a
Okay, good.
into the a squared.
Uh-huh.
Then you multiply 2 times a times negative b.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Then you square the negative b, which will
Okay.
give you
Very good. So please, a minus b with a squared outside is not the same as a squared minus b squared. Please take note, please. All right. So that is it. Now you are able to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this a squared and this positive b squared. Look at what. Yes, Martha.
Wait, sir, you said how do you factorize a minus b in bracket squared?
You
How you that's how you factorize, or you're not yet done?
it's
Or
that.
can't you just expand it?
Just that same expansion. Let me say. Maybe the better word would have been expansion. Okay?
Okay.
So that means if we have got something in this form, this is how we factorize it, okay? Yeah, we factorize it. So why have gone with expanded? Now, I'm going to get the a squared, I'm going to get the positive b squared. So what we're going to see is we're going to have a squared plus b squared. This is going to be equal to, I'm going to get this term which you're able to see because I just want to remain with a squared plus b squared. I'm going to take this term this side. Okay? So what we are going to have is a minus b squared, and then this is going to become positive ab. So if you want to factorize a squared plus b squared, this is what you get. Very, very important. Okay? Now, if we had a plus b squared, we want to expand this. This is going to be a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. All right? What I'm going to do again, I'm going to get the a squared here and the a squared here. I'll get this term and take it the other side. So the a squared and the b squared are going to have a squared plus b squared, giving us a plus b squared, then minus 2ab. That's what we're going to have. Yes, Casey. I believe that was a mistake. All right. So I hope you are able to see what is happening. I don't want you people to master because like mastering will do you no good. I don't want you to master. I want you to know what is happening here. Okay, now that you know, I want you to have this in your mind, like always keep this in your mind very much. Okay? I want you to have also this in your mind. Yes, Martha.
Sir, look at that. Isn't that one and that one the same? The third one and the fifth and the sixth one.
This one,
Yeah. And the last one.
I don't see them the same. There is a negative here, there is a positive. Here there is a positive, here there is a negative. So you've seen the difference, huh? So for us to get
As in, how did they reverse?
for us to get this
How
one,
did
we can you see that? For us to get the third one, we use the second one. For us to get this one, we use this one. We use where there was a plus on the middle. For the other one, we use where there was a minus on the middle. So that is why they've become different. Okay? Yes, Casey?
So I'm kindly asking if you can just repeat what you said and how you got the whole thing that is on the screen.
All right. So now I'm going to state this for one more time. And please just pay a bit of attention because it is very, very important, like when you're talking about this topic. When you have got a minus b squared, you can expand this, like write it two times multiplying. That is going to give you a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Now I'm going to get this and also this one. We pair them together, all right? That will give us a squared plus b squared. I'm going to take this term this side, so that will be a minus b squared plus 2ab. That's why this has come from. Now, we put a negative here. We don't want, we mostly don't use that. And actually, we don't use it on this topic. You're going to realize why when we start to do some practice questions. So, a plus b squared. You can expand this to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Pair up the a squared and the positive b squared also. That will give you a squared plus b squared. I'll take this term this side. That is going to give us a plus b squared minus 2ab. Okay, like that. Very, very important also. I hope you are able to see. So this is where these two came from. So I want you to keep very much. Yes, Casey?
So how come it became what's this? Negative 2ab from positive 2ab.
So what is I've gotten this portion. I've taken it the other side. So forget about this. Forget about this. I've gotten this portion, I've taken the other side. That's why it became negative because it was